Welcome back to the Authenticity Calling podcast. I'm your host, Ralitza Spassova, and today we have a juicy, abundant, and very authentic conversation happening with our special guest, Dina Alexander, and she is a sacred sexual awareness coach. Dina, tell us a little bit more about that and a little bit more about what you do.
Ralitza, I'm very grateful for this opportunity. What is an SSA coach, a sacred sexual awareness coach? I am a personal coach, a relationship coach, and an intimacy coach, a sex coach. And why do I not only say sex coach? Because I do marry spirituality and sex. I think they belong together because we are humans. And I help people into that. A lot of percentage of divorces are because in that area, it's not only the flesh, it's more than that. So that's what I do. I help couples and individuals that need information in that area.
Amazing. Amazing. And I'm so grateful to have you on the podcast. It's something it's been a long time coming. We met in Aruba last year when I actually came back to do Harmony in Action. And the way that I found you online, I don't even know how. It was just so synchronistic and perfect. I knew we had to meet in person. I was so excited to get to know you. And what you do is so important. That bridge between our sexuality and our sensuality, but also our spirituality, I think is so important. And I'm really glad that you can speak to this, because I think many people get overwhelmed. There's so much taboo, especially in certain cultures, to speak on sex. But it's so fascinating that when you actually bring it into the room with full permission, even pastors and their wives will talk about things transparently and vulnerably, and it's so beautiful to see. So thank you for doing this sacred work. It's so amazing. Tell us, yeah, what would you love to share today? And I'm really curious how you got into this work. Because I know there are people out there who want to get into Tantra, who want to do a little bit more of that sexy, get on that sexy vibe, but there's a lot, I think, holding us back. So I'm just curious, like, what was that invitation into the space for you, and what really allowed you that full permission to go 100% transparent with it?
Ralitza, I've been working with a lot of ladies that they know everything about the paper and figures and money. I'm an ex-banker. And I was working with master degrees in accountancy, master degrees in the bachelor degrees in accountancy. So these ladies are powerful. As soon as they enter the door, come into the company, they can do the job. But as soon as they get out, they cannot handle themselves. So I would like to share a short video with you before I start, because this is the reason why I started. And this is why I have a website of vibrators. Can I share it with you?
Absolutely, please. That would be amazing.
Let me see how I can share my screen. Yes. Okay. Let me.
Part of the 20th century, sex has been literally electrified by technology. One of the first 5 electric gadgets, besides the sewing machine, fan, toaster, and tea kettle, was a plug-in sexual stimulator. The vibrator was a cure-all for a series of mysterious complaints, collectively called hysteria, that plagued Victorian-era women.
Any woman who was experiencing stress, any woman, frankly, who was violating Victorian gender norms, who was too uppity, who was too confident, who was dissatisfied with her husband, she would very likely be diagnosed as hysterical.
There was a sort of a philosophy in medicine that hysteria emanated from a block in women's sex organ. These physicians would actually manually stimulate the women. Crazy. Initially, the procedure called for a doctor to massage the clitoris to the point of orgasm, thereby relieving the built-up pressure thought to cause hysteria.
It was not considered salacious in any way. It was considered completely modern, scientific Victorian medicine and the treatment of hysteria.
If the doctor did that today, he or she should be arrested and escorted away immediately.
It was so impossible for these Victorian physicians to imagine that women were sexual, that they had a sex drive.
But the treatment fails if the doctor doesn't have the right touch or stamina.
I actually think the doctors probably weren't that good at bringing women to orgasm.
When they were helping women come to orgasm, their hands got tired.
Like a lot of manual tasks that are difficult and possibly onerous, it was mechanized.
And so was born the vibrator. One early version was a tabletop model designed for the doctor's office and powered by a steam engine. Then in 1902, Hamilton Beach introduced the first personal vibrator. Just the 5th domestic appliance to be electrified.
Yes,
The 5th domestic appliance to be electrified. Wow.
the 5th. So that's how I usually start my reason why. I worked with these ladies, and there was a day, I was very young, younger than now. And there was a lady that was very frustrated the entire day, okay? So one day she came in, she told us that she was going to a therapist. And I know on the island there are a few very good therapists. This guy was a very good one. So I was very happy for her. So she went in the morning and she came back lunchtime. She came in more frustrated and enraged, Ralitza. And she said, you know what this guy told me to do? Go and have sex. And
This is when you were banking. This is before you started this
yes,
work.
before, yes, this is almost 30 years ago.
Uh-huh.
But I was like, what did this doctor is making my life miserable, not even more miserable because he just told her this. So after she went to pension and I started my company, I started educating myself in this area. And I understood what the doctor was asking the lady to get an orgasm. Okay. And the way that he spoke to her is not the way that I spoke to my clients, because some clients do have sex and usually they don't get orgasm. Okay. And orgasm is not just a physical release. It is a holistic experience that impacts the mind, body, and spirit.
That's right.
So that's why I said, this is what I know. I'm a woman, and I know it impacts my mind, my body, and my spirit. And there are benefits of orgasms. It reduces stress and promotes relaxation. It boosts immune function, the immune system, and improves sleep. It enhances emotional connection and intimacy. So you asked me why I started this. This is the reason why. And I'm a sex educator. I'm not a sex worker. And there's a difference. I don't touch people. People don't touch me. I speak everything. I speak everything, and I speak it clear. And I draw it. I use pictures. I use videos. But the work is with you alone, in your home, with your partner, with yourself. Okay? That's what I do.
I love that, Dina. That's so beautiful. And it's fascinating to me what you said, that so many people, even though they're having sex, even though they call their experience an orgasm, so many people actually are not truly orgasming. So I'm curious if you can say a little bit more about that. Like, how does one know? And I've heard that there are different levels of orgasm. So I'm wondering if you can speak to that a little bit. Like, how would how would a woman know that, she's been in relationships, she's been having what she calls orgasms, but it's not a true orgasm?
Before I get into that, may I start explaining what is being released during an orgasm? Because oxytocin is released during an orgasm, and it's often called a love hormone or the bonding hormone. So I would like to, before say, you need to get an orgasm and you need to know what is an orgasm, but the reason why is to release that oxytocin. Okay, so it is a bonding chemical. A lot of women are so unsure of themselves, in doubt. They don't know how to reach the connection with themselves. If you get at least 5 orgasms, you can hear yourself talking without opening the mouth.
Okay.
That's how I tell my women, look, if you are properly fulfilled in that area, you can even close your eyes and ask your pussy what she needs. And she will tell to you boldly, because the pussies, they speak very bold and very direct.
Very
Okay?
powerful. Yes.
Yes. And that is our power, and we are not using it. So what your question was, how do someone know they got an orgasm? So I will use the basic, and I will take it to a professional, okay? Every woman should have a bullet. A bullet is a small vibrator. It can be so small like this. You can see it. And you need to place it on your clitoris. You need to know where your clitoris is, because some women does not know where their clitoris is. So I will use Fifi. Fifi is my puppet Virga.
Welcome to the show, Fifi.
Yes, Fifi loves to be in the camera.
Center stage.
So Fifi, I usually give it around, but now I'll show it. Fifi shows you the clitoris is below the hoodie. A blue, you can see a blue stone. And right underneath, you can see the urethra, where your urine gets out. And there you can get also an orgasm. But at least you need to know that where your clitoris is, and that you have a bullet, and you don't need to insert it. A bullet, you just placed it. You place it on top of the clitoris, and you vibrate, like let it vibrate. And then you will feel that you need to release. And if you keep it a little bit more, then you really feel yourself releasing. And that's the more basic. And I use the word release, because that's how you will feel afterward. You will feel light. And even maybe you want to put it one more time. Maybe it's a very light one that you got, and you need maybe the third time that you get those releases, then you'll feel like, oh, okay, I feel what Dina is talking about. That's a very basic orgasm. So you can get an orgasm through your urethra, your G-spot. That's if you insert a finger towards your belly button, 1.5 inch. And then you'll get the G-spot, and you cannot feel it, because it's not like the clitoris or the urethra. It's you need to get aroused, and maybe you'll feel like a bean, or like a small sponge. It depends. We are not alike. So then if you keep on massaging it, you will feel like you want to pee. And there is the majority where the ladies stop because they don't want to wet their bed. They don't want to they don't know that part. But you need to continue, and maybe a little bit harder, and faster. So if you continue, you will get lushy orgasms, and maybe very wet ones. And then you can squirt. It depends if your pelvic muscle is very strong. So behind the G-spot, you have the anterior fornix. That's another point where you can get your another orgasm, very, very good one. Then the cervix, you can get a cervical orgasm. and then you can get also a P-spot orgasm, the posterior fornix orgasm. And there you can get lushy, wetty. I personally think that is the most delicious orgasm, the posterior fornix. It's behind the cervix, and it's somewhere that it opens up. Okay, if you can work with your pelvic muscles, it's open up, and the penis will go in, and it will close, and it's like when dogs have sex,
They get
and
stuck.
it gets stuck.
Yeah.
It gets stuck, and when you get your orgasm, a lot of fluid comes out. They call it cul-de-sac. And it comes, you feel it comes out from the inside, and it's warm fluid come out. It's different.
A lot of people call this squirting. Is that what we're talking about?
No,
But
that's not
that's
squirting.
the anterior.
That is
that's the G-spot.
posterior. Squirting is really from the G-spot, and and it comes from the urethra. Okay, but it's not urine. But this posterior fornix orgasm, cul-de-sac, it comes from within. That area within, and a majority of women don't know it because it's very difficult to get it. You need to have those pelvic muscles very, very strong for you to for it to open up and grab the penis.
So is this an active process? Like, is it a consciously active process, or is it just okay? So you really need to work on it.
You need to work on it, and that's what I teach.
There we go. There are skills to the orgasm.
And that's why I tell women we are goddesses, because this is a clitoris. Okay, this is my puppet clitoris.
We think it's this teeny tiny little bean, this little pearl. Yeah.
What we think it's a little pearl, it's so big, because if I use Fifi, this is Fifi, and I use Fifi, I put my clitoris like this. We only are handling here, this point, but it's the entire thing. So the clit